In the 1970s, kitchens were a place of vibrant, unapologetic creation. It was a time of bold flavors and even bolder presentations. A decade where home cooks weren't afraid to experiment. Convenience was king, but that didn't mean sacrificing a sense of occasion. From potluck tables to holiday feasts, desserts were a celebration, a sweet finale to a shared meal. One of the most iconic and surprisingly simple of these was the Watergate Salad. Despite its name, this dessert had nothing to do with political scandal, at least not at first. It was a delightful concoction of pistachio pudding, crushed pineapple, mini marshmallows, and whipped topping, a pastel green cloud of sweetness that was a staple at family gatherings. It was the kind of dessert that could be whipped up in minutes, a testament to the ingenuity of the 70s home cook who could turn a handful of pantry staples into a memorable treat. The 1970s were a time of culinary creativity, and the desserts of the decade reflected that spirit of innovation. The Harvey Wallbanger Cake, for instance, was a direct descendant of the popular cocktail, a boozy, orange-infused Bundt cake that was a hit at adult dinner parties. It was a fun, sophisticated dessert that captured the cocktail culture of the era, a sweet and spirited indulgence. The cake itself was often a simple yellow cake mix, elevated with the addition of orange juice, vegetable oil, and, of course, Galliano and vodka. The glaze, a simple mixture of powdered sugar, and more of the cocktail's key ingredients, was the finishing touch, a sweet and boozy drizzle that made this cake a true original. Then there was the Jell-O poke cake, a simple white cake that was transformed into a colorful, striped masterpiece with the help of a few packets of Jell-O. The process was simple. Bake a white cake, and while it was still warm, poke holes all over the top with a fork. Then pour liquid Jell-O over the cake, allowing it to seep into the holes, creating a beautiful and delicious striped effect. The cake was then chilled and topped with a layer of whipped topping. It was a dessert that was as fun to make as it was to eat, a playful and vibrant treat that was a favorite among kids and adults alike. The Tunnel of Fudge Cake, a Pillsbury Bake-Off winner, was another 70s legend. This deep, dark chocolate Bundt cake had a secret, a gooey, fudgy tunnel running through its center, a delightful surprise that made it a showstopper at any gathering. The secret to the tunnel was a special ingredient, a powdered frosting mix that was added to the batter. As the cake baked, the frosting mix melted, creating a rich, fudgy center that remained soft and gooey even after the cake had cooled. It was a feat of baking ingenuity, a dessert that was both impressive and incredibly delicious. Grasshopper pie, with its minty, chocolatey flavor and a hint of creme de menthe, was another popular dessert of the era. It was a no-bake pie with a cookie crust, a creamy, dreamy dessert that was both refreshing and indulgent. The filling was a simple mixture of melted marshmallows, creme de menthe, and whipped cream, a light and airy concoction that was a beautiful pale green color. The pie was then chilled until firm and often garnished with chocolate shavings or a drizzle of chocolate sauce. The pineapple upside-down cake, a classic that had been around for decades, saw a huge resurgence in the 70s. Its caramelized pineapple rings and maraschino cherries were a beautiful and delicious topping for a simple butter cake, a retro favorite that was a symbol of homey comfort. The cake was baked with the topping at the bottom of the pan and then inverted after baking, revealing the beautiful and delicious fruit topping. The Black Forest cake, a German import, became a sophisticated and decadent dessert that was a showstopper at dinner parties. Its layers of chocolate cake, whipped cream, and cherries, all soaked in kirsch, were a rich and boozy indulgence. The cake was a labor of love, a multi-layered creation that required time and patience to assemble. But the end result was well worth the effort. Ambrosia salad, another fruit salad that was really a dessert, was a mix of canned fruit, coconut, and marshmallows. A sweet and tropical concoction that was a holiday favorite. The salad was a simple mixture of mandarin oranges, pineapple tidbits, shredded coconut, and mini marshmallows, all bound together with a creamy dressing of sour cream or whipped topping. The earthquake cake, with its swirls of cream cheese, chocolate chips, and pecans, was a fun and messy cake with a surprise filling. The cake was made by layering a German chocolate cake mix with a mixture of cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar, and then topping it with chocolate chips and pecans. As the cake baked, the cream cheese mixture would sink to the bottom, creating a gooey, delicious filling that was a delightful surprise. And who could forget the Robert Redford cake, also known as the better than sex cake? This decadent, layered dessert of chocolate cake Sweetened condensed milk, caramel, whipped cream, and toffee bits was the ultimate indulgence, a dessert with a scandalous name and a flavor to match. The cake was a no-bake creation, a simple assembly of store-bought ingredients that was transformed into a rich and decadent dessert. So how did they do it back then? The 1970s kitchen was a different world. There were no fancy gadgets or artisanal ingredients. Home cooks relied on their ingenuity and a well-stocked pantry of convenience foods. Cake mixes were a staple, a blank canvas for creative additions, like a splash of liqueur or a can of fruit. A simple box of yellow cake mix could be transformed into a Harvey Wallbanger cake with the addition of a few simple ingredients. A white cake mix was the base for the colorful and playful Jell-O poke cake. Jell-O, in all its jiggly glory, was a magical ingredient used to create colorful salads, poke cakes, and molded desserts. It was a versatile ingredient that could be used in a variety of ways, from a simple dessert on its own to a key component in a more elaborate creation. The Jell-O poke cake was a testament to the creative possibilities of this simple ingredient. Instant pudding was another go-to, a quick and easy way to make a creamy filling for a pie or a simple dessert on its own. It was a key ingredient in the Watergate salad, providing the creamy base for this iconic dessert. The variety of flavors available, from chocolate and vanilla to butterscotch and pistachio, made it a versatile ingredient that could be used in a variety of desserts. Canned fruit was a pantry essential, a taste of summer all year round, and a key ingredient in many 70s. Desserts, from ambrosia salad to pineapple upside-down cake. Canned pineapple, with its sweet and tangy flavor, was a particularly popular ingredient, used in everything from cakes and salads to main dishes. The Bundt pan, with its distinctive fluted design, was a must-have, turning simple cakes into elegant creations. The tunnel of fudge cake, with its gooey, fudgy center, was a testament to the magic of the Bundt pan. The Harvey Wallbanger Cake, with its boozy glaze, was another dessert that was perfectly suited to the Bundt pan. And let's not forget the Tupperware, the colorful plastic containers that were the workhorses of the 70s kitchen, used to store and transport everything from leftovers to potluck desserts. Tupperware parties were a social phenomenon of the era, a chance for women to gather, socialize, and of course, buy more Tupperware. The containers were a symbol of modern convenience, a way to keep food fresh and organized. It was a time of resourcefulness and creativity, of making the most of what was available. Desserts were often a communal affair, brought to potlucks and bake sales, a way to share a little sweetness with friends and neighbors. The recipes were passed down on handwritten cards, stained with vanilla and butter, a tangible connection to a generation of home cooks who knew how to make something special out of the everyday. The 1970s was the decade of the working woman. As more and more women entered the workforce, they had less time to spend in the kitchen. This led to a boom in convenience foods, from cake mixes and instant puddings to canned fruits and frozen whipped topping. These products were a godsend for busy home cooks, allowing them to create delicious and impressive desserts with minimal effort. But the 70s was also a time of creativity and self-expression. Home cooks weren't afraid to experiment, to put their own personal stamp on a recipe. They added a splash of liqueur to a cake mix, a can of fruit to a Jell-O mold, a handful of nuts to a cookie recipe. They were constantly looking for new and interesting ways to surprise and delight their families and friends. The beauty of these 70s desserts lay in their accessibility. A working mother could come home from a long day at the office and still create something magical for her family's dinner table. The Harvey Wallbanger Cake required no special skills, just the ability to follow simple directions and the willingness to add a little liquid courage to a cake mix. The Jell-O poke cake was practically foolproof, a dessert that children could help make, creating family memories in the process. These desserts were conversation starters too. The Robert Redford cake, with its provocative alternate name, was guaranteed to get people talking at any gathering. The earthquake cake, with its deliberately messy appearance, was a dessert that embraced imperfection and celebrated the joy of indulgence. The tunnel of fudge cake was a magic trick in edible form, surprising guests with its hidden molten center. The social aspect of these desserts cannot be overstated. They were designed to be shared, to be the centerpiece of a potluck dinner or church social. The Watergate salad, served in its signature glass bowl, was a beacon of hospitality, a way of saying, "Welcome to my table." The ambrosia salad, with its tropical flavors, brought a taste of vacation to everyday meals, a small luxury in an era when exotic travel was still a dream for most families. The techniques used in the 70s baking were ingenious in their simplicity. The poke cake method revolutionized home baking, turning an ordinary cake into a work of art with nothing more than a fork and some liquid Jell-O. The upside-down cake technique, while not new to the 70s, reached new heights of popularity as home cooks discovered the drama of the big reveal when the cake was flipped from its pan. The no-bake dessert was another hallmark of the era. The grasshopper pie, with its cool mint flavor, was perfect for summer entertaining, when turning on the oven was the last thing anyone wanted to do. These desserts relied on the magic of refrigeration, transforming simple ingredients into something elegant and sophisticated through the power of time and temperature. The flavor profiles of 70s desserts were bold and unapologetic. The combination of chocolate and mint and grasshopper pie was refreshing and sophisticated. The tropical flavors of ambrosia salad brought sunshine to winter tables. The boozy notes in Harvey Wallbanger Cake and Black Forest cake added an adult sophistication to what might otherwise have been simple sweets. The presentation of these desserts was equally important. The 70s were all about visual impact, and these desserts delivered. The striped layers of a Jell-O poke cake were a feast for the eyes. The elegant fluted shape of a Bundt cake turned a simple dessert into something worthy of a special occasion. The dramatic height of a Black Forest cake made it the undisputed star of any dessert table. The ingredients themselves tell the story of an era. Cake mixes, once viewed with suspicion by serious bakers, became the foundation for creativity. Instant pudding, a marvel of food science, provided creamy textures without the fuss of traditional custard making. Canned fruits brought consistency and convenience, ensuring that a pineapple upside-down cake could be made any time of year, regardless of season. The equipment of the 70s kitchen was equally important to these desserts' success. The Bundt pan, with its distinctive shape, turned simple cakes into architectural marvels. Electric mixers made whipping cream and beating egg whites effortless tasks. Tupperware containers kept desserts fresh and made them portable, essential for the potluck culture of the era. These desserts were also economical, an important consideration for families dealing with the economic uncertainties of the 70s. A box of cake mix, a can of fruit, and some whipped topping could feed a crowd without breaking the budget. The ingredients were shelf-stable, meaning they could be kept on hand for impromptu entertaining or last-minute dessert needs. The cultural impact of these desserts extended beyond the kitchen. They appeared in women's magazines, on television cooking shows, and in community cookbooks. They were the subject of friendly competition at bake sales and county fairs. They were passed down from mother to daughter, creating culinary traditions that lasted for generations. What can we learn from the desserts of the 1970s? In our modern world of gourmet ingredients and complicated recipes, there's something to be said for the simplicity and joy of 70s baking. It was a time when dessert was about more than just a sweet treat. It was about bringing people together, about creating memories around the table. It was about the fun of making something with your own hands, even if it started with a box of cake mix. In the end, the forgotten desserts of the 1970s are more than just a trip down memory lane. They are a reminder of a time when home cooking was a creative and joyful act, a way to connect with family and friends. They are a testament to the ingenuity of a generation of home cooks who could turn simple ingredients into something truly special. And who knows, maybe it's time for a comeback. After all, who wouldn't want a slice of pure, unadulterated joy?